Dodge's fleet van is the 380 Magnum street van. For 1976, Dodge adds its 4-barrel dual-exhaust 380 cubic inch Magnum V8 to the Sportsman passenger van and Tradesman cargo vans. In the lightweight Tradesman, the big 380 makes for Dodge's fastest vehicle on a pound-per-horsepower basis. The street van is just a Tradesman, which means the porthole window and back, two-tone paint, wild graphics, not to mention that swoopy front spoiler, which we believe reduces highway aero drag substantially, are something you or a customizing shop must add. The chrome wheels and white letter tires are standard though, along with chromed bumpers, side mirrors, chrome-trimmed tail lights, windshield, and grille. Chrysler has long been timid about jumping on car design fads because their first attempt at trendsetting ended in disaster. When the Airflow debuted in 1934, it was the first car to embrace aerodynamic slipstream styling, and it resulted in collapsing sales. As Raymond Loewy might remark, it was definitely not Maya, or most advanced yet acceptable. Chrysler was a late but enthusiastic promoter of tail fins. Then by 1964, they were right in the game with the Ford Mustang, but the humpbacked Barracuda sold about a tenth the volume of Ford's true personal compact. They had the ingredients of a supercar and the downsized 62 Plymouth, but didn't really have a true GTO competitor until the GTX debuted in 1967. Ford entered the off-road bobtail trend with the 66 Bronco, and Chevy's Blazer came in 69, but Dodge took until 1974 to offer their Ramcharger 4x4. But with their new street van, they can definitely claim to be the first to plant the flag in a territory that has been occupied so far only by crafty Doobie Brothers, the custom van. It might not be a surprise since one of Dodge's real bright spots in sales has been the B-Series vans, which have outsold Ford and GM, a rare instance for the third ranked of the big three. As the final decadent stage of hippieism, the custom van converts all that high-minded love, peace, and harmony into the baser elements of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. The van trend takes the hot rod trend and turns it into a carpeted and veloured rolling bachelor pad, to use a euphemism. The street van takes this folky fad and prepackages it into a consumer durable. After all, wasn't the 60s supercar also reversing the do-it-yourself hot rod into a prepackaged vehicle of personal expression? Since the 1970 Clean Air Act, the supercar has been gradually eclipsed by flashy personal use trucks. This year, all the big three makers are gaming the smog and gas mileage rules so that pickups and vans, which were given a commercial waiver, are blatantly marketed as personal use smog loophole-mobiles. Last year, Ford introduced the F-150 heavy half-ton pickup truck, which steered clear of the catalytic converter and the smog pump, and ducked under the corporate average fuel economy regime with a gross vehicle weight over 6,000 pounds. This year, Chevy has introduced the Big Ten pickup, which does the same thing, and now Dodge joins in with a street van that takes the decadent love machine and combines it with a commercial Dodge Tradesman B200 van with a gross vehicle weight of 6,100 pounds. For $76, you can get a 4-barrel dual-exhaust 380 cubic inch Magnum V8 with 240 horsepower. In the 109-inch wheelbase version, stretching just 176 inches in length, it has 208 cubic foot of stowage, twice that of a 224-inch long Monaco station wagon, with a base weight of 3,450 pounds. Even with the automatic transmission and 380 V8, curb weight is only about 3,600 pounds, yet the weight of the intermediate Charger XE with the 240 horsepower 400 cubic inch V8 has ballooned over 4,200 pounds. A 380 Magnum van makes for an intriguing performance option compared to the moribund, overweight midsize supercar. The street van comes with a kit filled with 6 different full-size templates for graphics, roof vents, and rear window portholes, plus a guide to upholstering the interior and wiring in stereo speakers for rockin' and rollin'. You also get a Street Talk newsletter with a Van Clan membership, the van version of ye old Scat Pack Supercar Club. All new Boca Raton pattern high back bucket seats with integral folding armrests in saddle, green, or blue are standard. A deluxe vinyl trim instrument panel, steering wheel, and dashboard, and carpeting in front dress up the austere tradesman for street machine duty. Besides the big 380 load flight automatic, AM/FM radio and power steering, cruise control was among the few other factory options on our street van. It makes for easy long-distance cruising with the test van's optional 36-gallon fuel tank. The new 380 4-barrel V8 used in the Tradesman comes from the Dart Sport 380. It rates 240 net horsepower in the 6,100-pound gross vehicle weight light truck version because unlike in the 230 horsepower Dart, it has no smog pump. We were able to boost power further by adding side pipes. To embrace the spirit of customization, we decided to add low-restriction side pipes, of course with Dodge's blessing. We did it to prove 2 points. 1, that personalizing the street van is its reason for being, and 2, that it is perfectly legal since the 6,100-pound gross vehicle weight means that no catalytic converter had to be bypassed. Our van was equipped with the optional 355:1 performance axle ratio and sure grip differential. This made for fierce acceleration off the line and instant highway passing response. Without any smog hardware, we were even impressed with the gas mileage. The polysphere valve head 380 has always flowed more efficiently, and in fact, after we added our side pipes and opened up the air cleaner by employing a taller filter, we got 15.5 miles per gallon on the highway at 65 miles per hour. That's excellent considering the massive aero force pushing on the van's huge frontal area. Overall mileage increased from 13.5 miles per gallon to 14 miles per gallon with the side pipes. The 380 made beautiful exhaust and induction music, yet happily hummed on the cheapest fuel we could feed it. Leaded or unleaded made no difference. Opening up the exhaust and induction helped the 380 rev even higher too. It added a good 10 miles per hour to the speed at which we could shift gears on the drag strip. Without the pipes and letting the automatic shift itself around 4,700 RPM, which we calculated by a corrected speedometer reading, it roared to a 15.1 second quarter mile at 91 miles per hour. With the pipes installed and shifting manually at 5,200 RPM, times improved significantly for a best run of 94 miles per hour at 14.82 seconds. We were able to quickly blast up to a top speed of 110 miles per hour on our 2-mile straightaway long before running out of road. On the open road at 60 miles per hour, it can easily kick down from 2,700 RPM in high gear to 4,000 RPM in second gear for rapid transit passing. Holding first gear to 5,500 RPM, we matched the 6.6 second 0 to 60 time we reached in a 200-pound lighter 74 Dart Sport 380. Even with the sure grip axle, transforming the fat tires from rubber to smoke is all too easy with the drag gearing. An empty steel box also makes for noisy highway cruising with the 355 gears, especially once we added the booming side pipes. Keeping engine revs down would have helped immensely, so we felt the 380 with a 271 axle ratio would have been the best combination for pleasure trucking. It would put RPM at only 2,000 at 60 miles per hour and increase gas mileage. With the big gas tank, it would have nearly 600 miles of range. Though we think the 4-barrel 380 is the best reason to get a street van, it comes with a choice of a standard 100 horsepower 225 slant 6 or 150 horsepower 2-barrel 318 V8 for mellower swingers who aren't in a hurry. Middle-of-the-road hippies can order up a 180 horsepower 380 cubic inch 2-barrel, which can be ordered with the soft-riding 4,600-pound gross vehicle weight B100. The short 109-inch wheelbase street van has better weight distribution than you might think. This is because the engine is set back further than in the pickup truck to decrease body length and front overhang. This gives the short and tall van surprisingly good handling and rear-wheel traction. While the street van drags like a supercar, it obviously doesn't handle like one. However, the stiff suspension is sure-footed and stable in corners. Obviously, in a vehicle that's as tall as it is wide and nearly half as tall as it is long, you shouldn't plan on cornering with the daredevils in the SCCA. The major caveat we'd offer to potential owners of the B200 street van is that it definitely rides like a truck. On undulating pavement, it is notably choppy. Broken pavement pounds out a reverberating hard rock rhythm within the steel echo chamber of the empty 208 cubic foot cargo hold. The B200 has big 11-inch diameter rear drums and 11.75-inch front disc brakes, which make a winning combination with the stiff springs, fat tires, and low curb weight. Even though you sit very tall, high-speed panic stops do not in fact invoke panic, but reassuring confidence. It stops far better than a 60s supercar. The Dodge van alone has the option of a single rear door. It has an unobstructed rear window view and stays open with a door check. One thing you will really want but can't have is a back seat. Remember, this is the tradesman, and a big part of the price and weight advantage comes from it being a bare-bones commercial vehicle. Plymouth Voyager passenger van offers a similar back seat, trim, and power options as the Dodge Sportsman passenger van. You won't get the Street Talk newsletter, but you will indeed join the Plymouth Convoy. In theory, you could get a B200 or even a B100 street van in the 127-inch wheelbase if you had cargo stretching 11 feet or filling up 249 cubic feet. It has a body length of only 194 inches, 4 inches shorter than a Dodge Dart. The longer wheelbase allows the option of a neat sliding side door that opens wide for bulky adult toys like dirt bikes. We think the street van is an interesting but incomplete concept. You get a vehicle that's no heavier than a senior compact car, but with 240 horsepower and no power or economy choking smog controls. The only thing it needs is a back seat so you can use it more like a car. You can get the same engine in the Sportsman passenger van along with the fat tires and styled wheels. Though it lacks the hippie chic as well as the very low curb weight and base price of the street van, it would be a much better and desirable vehicle. Even better would be an option of a 3-passenger back seat for the street van. This would make it a much more tempting choice. As a 2-seater, we think it will have very limited appeal.